Hey everyone, it's me, Sloth. In today's video, I'm making an updated guide to Ranger. I'll be going over the best equipment, the best stat build, and the best skills to invest into as usual. If you like Vesteria content and want to see more of it, consider subscribing to the channel because I will be doing a face reveal at 10,000 subscribers. And also, I'm going to be making a bunch of more updated subclass guides after this one, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first ability isn't really an ability, but it's actually a passive, and that's multi-arrows. If you invest 1 point in this, you'll shoot 1 extra arrow, and ideally you just invest 2 points into this, you'll shoot 3 arrows at once. And it's pretty self-explanatory, you shoot 3 arrows. The middle arrow, I believe, does the most damage, but the other arrows do less damage. Or actually, I think your arrows overall just do less damage, but you get 3 arrows, and if they all hit, they'll do more damage than just 1 arrow. The next ability is Hail of Arrows, which is a very cool, another DPS ability. My favorite part about this ability is that it's AoE and it has almost no cooldown, so you can just keep on casting this and you'll keep doing damage. And since it does have a radius, you'll notice that if you invest 30 points into Vitality, which I do not recommend, but if you were to do that, you would get an upgraded radius +3 from stats plus perks, because 30 vitality does give you increased ability, area effect, whatever. So you'll notice that the Hail of Arrows is actually a little bit bigger now. It's actually hitting the second dummy now. Now the next ability is a bit complicated, and that's Ranger Stance. Now Ranger Stance is complicated because depending on what your stats are, this ability will change, similar to the Mana Bomb variants for mages. But the 3 variants for this ability are Ranger Stance, which is for Dex, Sniper Stance for Strength, and Spellslinger Stance for Intelligence. The first one we'll be going over is Ranger Stance. So if you have more Dex than Strength or Intelligence, you will get Ranger Stance. And this move, it will just dramatically increase your agility, which will increase whatever speed, arrow firing speed. And you'll basically become like a little minigun. You can combo it with Hail of Arrows, and I think you can see where Ranger gets all its DPS from. The next variant is Sniper Stance, which is just you shoot 1 arrow. Even if you have multi-arrows passive, you will shoot 1 arrow, and this 1 arrow will deal a lot more damage and will always crit. Now personally, I don't really like Sniper Stance because it's just not as good DPS compared to Ranger Stance, but it is good, I guess. I don't know, it's actually not that good. It does pierce though, which I should mention. It'll go through targets. Actually, does it pierce? Oh yeah, it does. There we go. So that's one neat thing about it. But it's just not that useful. The last type of stance is Spellslinger Stance. There isn't one for Vitality, so we just get Spellslinger Stance. This one, you shoot explosive arrows that do like big AoE. And this one, it's not the greatest for PvE unless you just want a good AoE attack, but it is pretty decent in PvP. And one thing that, just like Hail of Arrows, it does have a radius. So if you were to get 30 vitality, it would actually increase the radius of the Spellslinger Stance arrows. So now the explosion is a little bit bigger. So I do think Spellslinger Stance, they are pretty good in PvP, and the reason I say that is because there is a brain dead PvP strategy where you just spam these arrows in someone's face, and they'll probably die. So if you're going for the PvP Ranger, then I recommend Spellslinger Stance. But other than that, no, this is not good, like for DPS or even for killing AoE. You have a Hail of Arrows already if you want a good AoE. I don't know why you need even more AoE as Ranger, but these do exist as well. The last ability is Ricochet, and Ricochet sucks. It's not even worth talking about. You shoot like a bouncing arrow. It does have a pretty short cooldown, but this isn't when it's maxed out. And it's just another like stupid, like I guess it can take out hordes of mobs maybe, but even then the damage isn't that great. And it sucks. Don't put any points, just put leftover points into Ricochet. You don't want Ricochet. It kind of stinks. So in order to join Ranger, you must make your way to Port Fidelio, and you gotta be a level 30 in Base Hunter. He also has a quest around like level 15 to level 20-ish, I think, where you just kill like a bunch of rubies for him, and you get like a pristine hunting bow, so that's also there. But he's pretty easy to find. Just climb up this hill in Port Fidelio, and you will find the Ranger subclass trainer. Alright, now let me show you guys my Ranger build. So for the equipment, I use a fishbowl, which you can obtain from pirates and Turo's Maw. I use Fierce Dweller Vest. Also, I will say Ranging Gear also works, but I use the Dweller Vest because it looks a lot cooler, and I think it is slightly better. But there's the Fierce Dweller Vest, and you can also use a Swift one that also works, or just a regular one even if you don't have any. And you get this from Fighting Captain, or you can get it from the shop in the laboratory. And then I use Dweller Boots, which you can obtain from the Captain or the doubloon shop again. These just give 9 dex, so they're automatically the best boots for Ranger, except they give no stamina, which might be a little annoying to some people, but I think the 9 dex is worth it, unless you're doing PvP. Now for the dagger, this dagger was actually gifted to me by Envy, which is this really cool person who just gifted me a bunch of gold tiers and then said I'm quitting the game, so that was a pretty Chad thing to do. Shoutouts to Envy for the free Forgotten Dagger along with like some gold tier edges. They're a very cool person. I don't think they'll be on to upvote them because they quit the game, but thank you. But anyway, the Forgotten Dagger is the best dagger for Rangers because you get 20% ignore defense. There's also like stupid event items like this Mythic Icicle, which could be better, but they're event items. No one's getting this anymore. It's not even worth talking about. And to get a Forgotten Dagger, you just have to fight the possum. And it's like an absurdly low drop rate, but it'll be worth it, trust me. And then the best bow in the game right now is the Abyssal Bow. A lot of people want this to get nerfed, and I won't be surprised if it does get nerfed, but I'll show the perk later. You basically just shoot growing abyssal arrows. Your arrows do more damage and grow larger the farther you are away from wherever you're shooting. I'll show it. But it's a very good perk. It's almost too good, and it will likely be nerfed. So if it does get nerfed, I would use the Forgotten Bow or the Duststorm Longbow. But if it doesn't get nerfed, this is literally the best bow in the game right now. It also gets 5% crit chances if it wasn't absurd enough, but to get this bow, you have to open these like sunken lock boxes, which you get from completing like a captain fight. And then once you get the lock box, you actually need a key, which you get from killing pirates and some of the other Turo's Maw enemies. And they don't even like guarantee opening the chest. It's like a 30% chance. So getting this bow is a pain. But if you can get it, it's the best bow in the game. And all you need to do is ocean scroll it too, which is also nice. You don't really have to risk blowing it up unless you really want to get the extra crit chance or something. But now let's talk about the stat build. The stat build for Ranger is pretty simple. All you really need is just a bunch of strength and a bunch of dex. Like right now I have 120 strength just so I get the 120 strength perk that like makes stamina not as annoying. But if you can at least get 90 strength and have a little more into dex, you'll be fine, because all you really need to do is just have dex be 1 point higher than strength. So if you just keep taking turns adding points between strength and dex, you'll be fine. That's like the best build. As long as dex is higher stat and you still have a bunch of strength, that is the best build for Ranger right now. The skill book for Ranger is also very easy to fill out because basically you have 3 really good abilities and 1 trash ability. So just max out all the really good abilities and don't put just put the leftover points into this trash ability. You just want max Ranger stance, max hail of arrows, and max multi-arrows. Some people like to put like 1 or 0 points into multi-arrows if they're using the Abyssal Bow, because that makes it easier to land the shot and you do a little more damage for landing the 1 shot. But honestly, I just prefer multi-arrows because most of the time they will do more damage. It's just like some scenarios the 1 arrow might be better, but I don't really care about that. I just want whatever works best the most of the time. Anyway, let me show off the Abyssal Bow perk because it is a little weird to use it optimally. But basically what I do is whenever there's a boss, you just go really far away from it and get max amount of damage. So say it's like first mate. Let me see if this will let me ring the bell. Yeah, so we rung the bell. And then I just go really high up for first mate and just rain down the giant arrows. And it usually works. I usually do the most damage with this strategy. You also want to use Hail of Arrows because that will increase your DPS. So yeah, we did the most damage, but still got like a one doubloon anyway because Vesteria loot is very nice. But there might be some better ways. Some people do really crazy things where they get like in this like really high up spot and just shoot arrows down very easily, but I don't know. I just go really high up, rain down some big arrows, and it works. It does enough damage to get the max amount of loot, which by the way loot in Vesteria works now is a little bit different. Basically, if you deal 10% of damage to a monster, you already get the max amount of loot. It doesn't matter if you do a lot more damage, as long as you deal at least 10% of its health, it's like basically equivalent to soloing the boss in old loot terms, if that makes sense. Like, you don't really need to do a lot of damage to get loot in Vesteria anymore. And you're also not really rewarded as much for dealing a lot of damage either. So I just thought I would mention that. I want to give a shout out to some other equipment though, like the vampiric set is actually the best ranger set, but this is like an event item and not everyone can obtain it, so I didn't really think it was worth talking about it. But this increases critical strike damage, and that automatically makes it like the best perk for ranger. So if you can get your hands on this, then yeah, use this instead. And also I want to give a shout out to the Digger's Last Resort dagger, because this dagger is also pretty decent. It disables health regeneration, and when you like reach below 20% HP, I believe it is, you deal like a lot more damage. This perk is also decent. I just get annoyed with it because like if there's a cleric or someone healing, you get prayer comforted. You won't do as much damage, and also you just die very easily with this perk. But I guess since you're a ranger, you won't be getting close anyway. Let me see if I can show it off here. Just let myself get hit. And then start attacking. Like, this boss is about to die, but I do a lot of damage. But personally, I just prefer the Forgotten Dagger just because it's really easy to use and you don't have to worry about, like, damaging yourself. And you also still deal very competitive DPS, so I don't think Digger's Last Resort is that good, but a lot of people do use it, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. Then there's also the Mythic Icicle, which is also a very OP dagger with like a base crit of 25. It's also another event item, and it's also soulbound, so if you didn't get it during the event, you just literally can't get it anymore, so I don't think it's really worth talking about that one either. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this ranger guide, and be sure to stay tuned for more subclass guides coming soon. Goodbye.